Welcome everybody, this is a 15-minute guide to Super Metroid. This will not be using any special techniques or speedrun techniques, and will also cover some of the basics of the story.
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
That is a lie, this is Ridley. He is stealing that blast baby Metroid, and the entire story of this game is about trying to recover the baby Metroid. We're gonna head over to Zebes, trying to follow Ridley, trying to recover that baby once again. In case you're new here, feel free to subscribe, like the video if it's helpful to you. This is a basic walkthrough guide, just trying to cover anything that you might need to know if you're stuck. It's a great guide to help you find where you need to go. If you're more interested in a no commentary walkthrough, I do have that on my channel. There's a link at the top of the screen. First, we're going to head in through Criteria, head all the way down. There's only one way you can go. Go ahead and pick up the Morph Ball, and then head directly back up the way you came. Immediately after picking up the bomb, you're going to be fighting Bomb Terizo. After you defeat Bomb Terizo, you're going to continue on with your journey. Now you're heading into Brinstar. Brinstar is going to pick up a handful of more items. This boss is named Spore Spawn. It is a required boss for a casual playthrough. However, if you are speedrunning the game or you've seen speedruns of the game, that is a boss that is typically skipped. After Spore Spawn, you're going to head down through this room. Go ahead and pick up Charge Beam. It's actually not a required item, but it's extremely helpful. With the super missiles after Spore Spawn, and now the Charge Beam, you're going to make your way down through this large room. This is typically called Red Tower. You'll see it a handful of times throughout the playthrough. Continuing on, you're actually going to head all the way down to Norfair. Specifically just to pick up the high jump boots. After picking up high jump boots, you're going to immediately head right back up where you came from. But this time, you're going to go into this side room that's a little bit hidden, and through here, you're going to fight your first major boss. This boss is known as Kraid. If you played the first Metroid game, Kraid is a returning boss from that game. However, you can see that he has gained a considerable amount of size. Once you've defeated Kraid, you're going to go in through the next door, pick up the Varia Suit. Varia Suit is a required item that will let you pass through heated rooms. Back into Norfair, these heated rooms with this background normally would be doing damage to you. Now with the Varia Suit, you're no longer taking damage. You're going to head through here, pick up the Speed Booster. After Speed Booster, you're going to come all the way back to the main room, use the Speed Booster to pass through these gates, and then come through here, pick up Ice Beam. Ice Beam allows you to freeze enemies and use them as platforms. Headed back up toward Red Tower, you're going to pick up Spazer. Spazer is an optional beam, however, again, it is very useful. Continuing to freeze enemies, you're going to head up to this room, pick up power bombs. At this point, the run does split a little bit. You can opt to head directly back down Red Tower and continue on, or you can go ahead and do a loop through and pick up a bunch of ammo upgrades and other energy upgrades. If you're following the no commentary video, it does do a first item pickup run, but you could just do one item pickup run later on. Your eventual goal is to head down Red Tower after doing all of the item pickup, at which point we have a couple of new abilities and can pass into this room, as you see on the right, which will allow you to use the power bomb to pass down into here. This is going to bring you to another mini-boss known as Crocomire. After you defeat Crocomire, you're going to head down through a couple of rooms, pick up the grapple beam. This room here is one to remember. It is something that you'll have to come back to later. Currently, we cannot get in there, but it is showing you that you need to come back this way at some point. Grapple beam allows you to actually head back through Norfair, this time grabbing the wave beam. Wave beam is actually optional, however, again, extremely useful. If you did not do a roundup of items earlier, then you have to do a larger roundup of items now. You do need a certain number of small item packs in order to complete the game. I split it into 2 different rounds just to break it up a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and do some item completion and then go to our next boss area. With that grapple beam, we're going to use it to get across this moat. But now, with going across it, we'll go into Wrecked Ship. Wrecked Ship has no power though. You'll see here that there is no ability to save. If you need to save, you need to do it somewhere else. This boss is known as Phantoon. It is a space ghost, and it requires that you defeat it using mostly missiles or charge shots. If you use a super missile, it will put him into a rage state, so I recommend just using your missiles here. After defeating Phantoon, you're going to head back up through Wrecked Ship. You'll notice that the power's back on now, and that also means that there are enemies around. You can, however, save, which is awesome. You're going to make your way toward this room with a Chozo statue that will allow you to pass through to the next items. If you do go outside, that's okay. You do need to go outside in order to get to this room. Eventually, you're going to grab this gravity suit. Gravity suit allows you to move through water more easily. That hasn't been an issue so far in this playthrough. However, the next area that we need to go through does have a lot of water. This is known as Meridia. I chose to go through the Forgotten Highway to get into Meridia, though there is a secondary way to get here. If you do choose to go Forgotten Highway, eventually you'll end up in this glass tube, which you do need to break. You could also get here going back down Red Tower. You need to break this tube, make your way through a handful of rooms, and you'll eventually see these Metroids. These are actually fake Metroids, but they show you that you are leading toward the goal of the game, and in this case these are clones of the Metroids, but after you make your way through here, you'll fight this snake boss. Its name is Botwoon. It is a mini-boss leading to the next area. You'll make your way through this room, which will put your grapple beam abilities to practice. A rather hard room if you're not using any type of speedrun techniques. But eventually you'll make your way into the boss known as Dragon. Dragon is not a very difficult boss, however it can be a little bit tricky. You can either choose to shoot it in the stomach a bunch of times in order to defeat it, or you can do a nice little trick with the grapple beam that electrocutes it. After you defeat Dragon, make your way into this side room, which picks up the Space Jump. Space Jump allows you to continuously jump and is required for you to pass through some specific areas. Using that space jump, we're going to make our way into here and pick up the plasma beam. Plasma beam is extremely useful. Now with all of those upgrades, we can actually head back to that room we saw earlier, and this time we're making our way into what is called Lower Norfair. Make your way over to the left, you're going to fight another Torizo. This one's name is Golden Torizo. After you defeat it, you're going to pick up the Screw Attack. Screw Attack is extremely powerful. It allows you to defeat almost all enemies, as well as break through blocks. However, there are some enemies that it does not do any damage to, such as these metal space pirates. Figure out how to defeat them, make your way over, and you're going to be battling Ridley, the boss that you met at the beginning of the game. After you defeat Ridley, you will see that there is a room to the side, and it has the broken container that originally contained the Metroid. Your entire goal here was to find this Metroid and recover it, and now it is gone. So go ahead and make your way back to the ship and leave. You've failed your mission. Just kidding. This is actually a great point to save and refill energy and ammo before you make your way into this area known as Torian. If you found this room earlier, it has the 4 statues of the 4 major bosses that you need to defeat to get through here. As you defeat them, they turn gray, and it will lead you to a lower area that you have not been to before. Torian contains the clone Metroids, which were made from the original Metroid. You need to go ahead and defeat all of them and make your way toward the final boss. This Metroid you actually cannot defeat. This is the baby Metroid. However, it does look quite a bit different than it did before. It has grown quite a bit after being experimented on by the space pirate. After you refill energy, you're going to make your way through these rooms. This is why you had to do so much item collection. These bars are called Zebatites. You do need to have missiles to destroy them and make your way over to the final boss. If you played Metroid 1 on the NES, then you may recognize this boss. It was the main boss from the first game. However, now it might look slightly different. Go ahead and defeat it. Once you defeat it, you'll notice that you get an immediate emergency timer. You need to escape the planet before it explodes. Feel free to stop over here and grab the small animals and save them from the explosion. And then make your way back to the ship. And that is Super Metroid in 15 minutes. If you enjoyed the video or you found it helpful, feel free to subscribe, like the video, or leave a comment. Thank you.